Hello class, this is Mr. Steigerwald and we're going to be taking notes on lesson 1.2 linear measure. Our objectives for today is measure segments and 2 calculate with measures. Now with the vocabulary. The first vocabulary word is betweenus of points. Between any 2 points on a line there is another point. So if we use this example of a line, and let's call it line MN, with betweenus of points, you'll always find another point between 2 other points. So I could put a point right here and call it A. A is between M and N. I can even put another point here and call it Z. That is between M and N. And actually it's between A and N as well. But if I put a point off to the side, and let's call that R, R is not between M and N. I could even put a point right here, and we could call that O. O is not between M and N. It has to be on the line as well. Go ahead and write this down. Beep. The next definition is line segment. A line segment is a portion of a line with 2 endpoints. If we use the line that we used up above, and it was line MN, a line segment is a portion of a line with 2 endpoints. So we are talking about this part right here. Let me redraw this. This would be line segment MN. And the notation of this line segment will be written as such. MN with a bar over it. Again, remember with the points, they're capitalized, and to show that this is a line, we'll put a segment above it with no points and no arrows. Go ahead and write this down. Beep. Between. Point A is between 2 other points, B and C. A, B, and C are on the same line, and AB plus AC equals BC. Let me draw a diagram to show you what that looks like. We have line segment BC. A is between BC. So what we'll have is, we'll have this equation that when we add up our segment AB, we're talking about this segment right here, plus AC, when we add those up, it'll be the whole line segment BC. Beep. Midpoint. A point that is halfway between the endpoints. So if we look at this segment, and let's call it CR, and if this whole distance was 16 inches, the midpoint, the halfway point, will be at 8 inches. And let's call this point B. If this segment from C to B is 8 inches, and the length of the segment from B to R is 8 inches, then B is the midpoint of those 2 points. Beep. Congruent segments. 2 segments with the same measures. Now the key concept here with congruent segments is that congruent segments do have the same measures. And when we show that one segment is congruent to another segment, we will use this symbol right here, the equal sign with the squiggly on top of it, between the 2 segments. And it'll be read, one segment is congruent to another segment. The red dash marks on this figure indicate the congruencies. This segment AC is congruent to CD. Congruence, they have the same measure. You can see that they're both 1.7 centimeters long, so you know that they're going to be congruent to each other. When we use this notation right here, that segment AB is congruent to segment CD, with the bar above it, we are talking about the segment itself. When we look at AB equals CD, we're talking about the measures of the segment. So put this in your notes and also make a note that we're talking about the segments, where we have segment AB is congruent to segment CD. Below here, where AB equals CD, we are talking about the measurement. Or let's just go ahead and shorten it and put measure. The main idea here is to measure with a ruler. Now you know with a ruler we'll be measuring in inches. With a ruler, each inch is divided into 16ths. Number 2, point B is closer to the 1 inch mark. And AB is how many inches long? Alright, we see that we always start at the beginning point, and we are doing it right there. And we see that B is right here, and in the middle is at this point right there. So we always look to the left and see, alright, this amount covers 1 inch, and now how many tick marks, how many 16ths does this cover? So we have 1/16, 2/16, 3/16, 4/16, 5/16, 6/16. So AB is 1 6/16. But of course, whenever we have a fraction, we could always reduce it. So this right here will equal to 1 3/8. The distance from A to B is 1 3/8 inches long. Beep. The key concept here is betweenness of points. First of all, do me a favor and cross out betweenness of points. Just cross it out. And put segment addition postulate. Now, with this words here in this diagram, point M is between points P and Q if and only if P, Q, and M are collinear and PM plus MQ equals PQ. This is very similar to the concept of between that we took in our notes earlier. This right here is actually, we're taking this part plus this part, and it equals the whole thing from here to here. Whole. So we could also say with this formula, we could put part plus part equals whole. Go ahead and mark that down on your notes. This concludes the notes for section 1.2. Bye.